Alright guys, I'm back. Got my notes right here to keep myself on track because I seem to enjoy going a little overboard on these YouTube videos. I gotta work on that, so of them get a little more stretched out than I would like them to be because I'm so wanting to show you guys everything, and some people don't like that, and it takes up a lot of time and it's a lot of editing, and I gotta learn that I can't have everything in here. Anyway, so first thing I'm going to go for is style. So we have a multitude of knives here, and a few of them are similar, but most of them are their own style. So I'll just go down the line really fast. This is the very first fixed blade that I ever had. This was actually my dad's. It's an Edgemark. Doesn't have a model on it, and it was made in, correct me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but it's made in Solingen, Germany. And it's got a nice bone deer antler handle here. And just a fixed blade, you know, hunting knife. 52 here, which I would imagine is the date stamp. 1952. Carbon steel blade. And on this side it says Edgemark Solingen, Germany. So the company and where it was made. This kind of got me really interested in, purchasing knives and going to the outdoors because I'm looking at this knife as a young boy, and I'm like, how can I use this? How do I use this? So this is, like I said, just a standard, basically a deer hunting style knife. This one, when I was first introduced to Rambo, everyone watches Rambo, everyone wants a big ass blade. So, of course, I go up to mom and dad when I'm, I don't know how old I was, maybe 14 years old, and I'm like, hey mom, dad, I want a big knife. Let's go to Cabela's. So we went to Cabela's, and I found this Ontario knife. This is Ontario LSA knife, I believe it's called. It's their Spec Plus model. Yep, LSA, and big, long, straight blade, serrated back with a false edge up here. And it didn't take long to realize that, although it's big and looks pretty cool, doesn't make it a good survival knife. I couldn't baton with it because of this false edge up here. I couldn't get a good bite on it on the back with the baton because of these serrations. Again, with the serrations, I don't know if you guys can see it very, very well, but they're not the best serrations, so they don't do much for cutting things. This is more of like a tactical combat knife. Right here, this is a buck. This is the Buck 119, and of course, it's a hunting style blade. It's got that clip point on there, nice thick handle, good size. In my opinion, it's a pretty good size as a woods blade, as far as the length of the blade goes. And it's got a nice leather sheath, slides in there, button comes over the handle just like that, snaps in, and it's not going to fall out. It's good. It does have a drainage hole in the bottom as well. Of course, you can't have a knife video talking about designs if you don't have a Mora. So this is a Mora Classic number 2 knife. You can see that Scandi grind there, about a 4-inch blade. It's a Swedish blade. It did have a red handle, sanded that off and stained it to a different color that I liked more. And it's also a great size. This is, of course, a classic woods style knife, seeing as that was its primary purpose back in its day. Next up, we have the Buck Reaper, which I did an incredibly long review on, and as you can see, it Well, it has a couple different ideas in mind. It has a combat idea in mind, as well as a one tool option kind of design. You can see this continuous curvature of the blade here, and the swooping of the spine here, and so good for chopping. But it also has this finger choil here, good for choking up and doing fine carving. So as a one tool option, not a bad choice, quite honestly. But on the other hand, the sheath isn't much. It is a Cordura sheath with a plastic insert, and it just has this button over here. It just comes around the handle and snaps in, and I'm not a big fan of the sheath. Honestly, if you were looking at something like this, I would send it into some sort of a custom Kydex shop and have them make you a Kydex sheath. And this is the newest purchase, the newest member of the knife family at my house. This is the TBS Boar knife from the Bushcraft store over in England. And of course, incredible leather sheath, the most secure sheath of any of these in my opinion. And it's just a very stout, full tang blade. You know, it's just standard classic bushcraft style blade. Alright, so those are just a few of the styles. Now, the tang idea. Alright, so there's only two knives here that fit the full tang profile, and that's the Boar and the Reaper. And of course on the Boar you can see the silver steel against that walnut there. And then the Reaper also has full tang, but you can't really see it against the black micarta. It is there though. Full tang is very important for most people because it provides the most amount of strength and bulletproofness of any knife. The rest of these knives here are all rat tail tang, so they go all the way through the handle or part of the way through the handle. This edge mark goes all the way through. Here's the tang right here. The rest of them only go part of the way through. So that's definitely something to consider when you're thinking about batoning your knife. I know the 119 has a few stories of people batoning and the blade snapping right at the hilt. Blade design, well, we kind of already touched on that. These two are more of a hunting style knife. These two are more of a bushcraft woodsman style blade. And then this one is pretty much pure tactical military, and this is a hybrid military tactical one tool option survival knife. So all things to think about. Next, the grind. Alright, so the edge mark has this normal flat grind blade, as does the 119, the Ontario, and the Reaper. All have flat grind blades. The Boar and the Mora, they have Scandi grind blades. In my experience, I prefer Scandi grind because I can get them sharper, easier, and the blade, the edge, is true to what it originally was because there's more of an edge there to press down on and sweep across your stone, so it's not getting all uneven, or you're not sharpening over the actual edge, which is rather easy to do with flat grind blades. So I prefer Scandi because I can see from my experience that not really the reason being that it cuts better is why I prefer it, but it's just easier to maintain and take care of than flat grind. To me, you guys may be different, but to me, Scandi is easier to maintain than flat grind. The handle is a very, very, very important thing to consider. The Mora, of course, it has this birch handle here, not bad at all. Decently comfortable, and since it is wood, you can sand it to fit your hand profile. The Boar, it has these walnut scales on it, and it is very, very comfortable, and it doesn't get too incredibly cold. Well, it doesn't really get cold at all once my hand is on it. It's pretty good wet, so it doesn't really slip out of your hand very easily. The micarta handle on the Reaper is fantastic in every condition. It's comfortable. It won't slip when it's wet from rain, or if it's covered in blood. Not a problem. Same with the Ontario. It has more of a rubberized grip, so it definitely won't be going anywhere. Now, the 119 has like this. I'm not even positive on what the material is actually called, but it is incredibly slippery when rain or blood is on it. It gets bitterly cold with just a few seconds of being outside in cold conditions like it is now, and it's just really, really, really hard to work with in cold and wet conditions. So that's definitely a huge drawback to this knife. The sheath, kind of touched on that already. Sheath is a big deal. You don't want your sheath, allowing your knife to fall out if you go over in a canoe or fall down. And you also don't want your sheath, or rather, you don't want your knife to be able to cut through your sheath. This has double stitch, saddle stitch leather, and it's got this perfect. This is just a perfect sheath. There's no possible way that this knife is going to come out. I can't even pull it out, and nothing. The button's not going to rip out of it because of the way that the leather is cut. It's just, there's no possible way that this blade can come out unless I take my hand and I unbutton that snap and draw the knife out. This sheath is a little bit more of a problem. While the knife is definitely secure, all it is just this small piece of nylon webbing that's really keeping it in, which could be very easily, if this knife was somehow yanked, that could just rip and your knife is out, and now it poses a threat to you and people around you. You may lose it, so now there goes your tool. Not good at all. The Mora sheath, while it is plastic and there's no way the knife's going to cut through, just a little snap of the wrist and the knife will come out, which is a reason why I think a lot of people carry it as a neck style knife. As you can see, I got paracord on it for carrying it around my neck, so the blade doesn't fall out. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt anyone else. I don't lose it. That is a big deal. This sheath, before, when it was in mint condition, was a pretty decent sheath. When it did have a belt loop on it, this thing's had the crap beat out of it. When it did have a belt loop on it, it had a snap up here, and it also had a snap that came around here and buttoned down there. So it had two fastening points, which was very, very secure. And it would not come out if something yanked on the knife. This sheath, of course, like the Boar, it is leather and has a super thick welt on it, so the blade definitely is not going to cut through there. And again, just like the Boar, the same way that this sheath snaps over the blade, there's no way that it's going to fall out or rip out unless I take my hand, unbutton it, and draw the knife from its sheath. The edge mark, small piece of leather. Honestly, I don't think that'll be ripping out either. It just runs right through the belt loop. It's riveted onto the belt loop. I don't have a doubt in my mind that this blade will not come out if you try to yank it out or dunk in a canoe, unless of course something hits that button and out it goes. Now, for the final consideration in purchasing a knife is the task you want to use it for. Obviously, I failed a few points with some of these blades. Primarily this blade, I wanted a survival knife, one that could introduce me into the way of the woods. And so you go out and buy a tactical military let's go kill 'em knife. Doesn't really work out. You need to consider what you want the knife to be used for, and take the task into consideration that you want, along with the style that you enjoy, and something that's comfortable. Combine those together, and whatever knife is the last knife standing is the one you go for. And after long consideration on different knives, this just happened to be that knife that stood everything that I wanted and came out perfect. Of course, these knives are more of a hunting knife. You could use it in a survival scenario, but again, with that stick tang that it does have, there is a risk there of the blade snapping off. So hunting, you're driving it through animals, you're skinning, you're gutting, you're doing anything a survival or a hunting task, would need to be done. The Mora, well, it's a bit more of a companion type knife. It does have a stick tang, but it was originally made for, use in the woods. As far as batoning goes, I would not do that with a Mora. Accompany that with something like an axe, possibly, and you would be pretty well set, in my opinion. But do not try batoning with it. Do not chop with it. That's just a not smart woodsman, and that's not good. The Reaper, its task is, in my opinion, a one-tool option. Because of the blade design, it's much like a parang design. You can chop with it, you can baton with it, you can pierce with it, you can carve with it. You can do everything that you need to do with this knife. Will it be easy to do everything? No, it won't, because it's just one knife. There's not that much biting power behind just one knife. The Boar. Okay. Do not chop with it. Again, the weight isn't there. The blade size isn't there to chop with, which is why, if you go something for less than 5 inches long, in my opinion, less than 5.5 inches long, you're gonna accompany that blade with something like an axe, right? So I got my chopping here, I got everything else I need to do here. Maybe I can throw a saw in the kit as well. I'll be pretty well off. So that's all, purpose, mindset. Don't buy a hunting knife if you want to use it as a survival knife. Don't buy a bushcraft knife if you're going on deployment to another country and you are, going into a combat zone. It's not going to work out for you. Don't buy a Reaper if you're going to be skinning fish with it, right? That would not work out at all. Just be smart. If you are looking for a survival knife, go on Amazon and type in survival knife, or go on YouTube, type in survival knife reviews. If you're looking for a hunting knife, go on Cabela's and look for hunting knives. If you're looking for something more militaristic, that you're doing a lot of maybe police work, or you're in the military going on deployment, look for some sort of a combat knife. Just figure out what you want, and then search for the blade for what you want to do. There's not a blade that can do everything. If anyone says there is, then they haven't spent much time researching different blades. There's a lot of money just sitting right here, and it's taken a long time to figure out what the right blade is for me. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take dirt time. You need to get experience. You need to do a lot of thinking about what you want your knife to do. And when you think you found a knife, buy that knife, take it out, and do everything that you want to do with it. And if it cannot function well, then stick it in the box, throw it under your bed, and look for another knife, because that one is not going to do it for you. So that's just some opinion on basic knife selection and knife choices. If you want more discussion about any of these blades, just let me know. There will be a review coming up of this eventually, so leave the bore aside. Any of these other blades, if you want to know anything about them, just contact me, let me know. I'm on Facebook, just type in my name, Joshua Kulekovich, which is, you know, my YouTube channel name. Just put Joshua Kulekovich on YouTube in the Facebook search bar, and you know, you can find me, or there should be a link on my channel. You can just click on that Facebook link, it'll take you right to my page. Just ask me a question, send me a PM, whatever you want to do, and just tell me about what your thoughts are, what you want to see, and I'll try to get it out to you guys as soon as possible. Alright, well, that's all I got, so thanks for watching, and I'll try to get this uploaded quick. If you guys have anything else you want to see, let me know. Otherwise, I will just keep on figuring out what I want to get out on YouTube, and keep gaining some more experience. So, thanks guys, I'll see you later.